Hello and welcome back to VBuzz. You're still here with myself, Sharita and Shankari. Now, as we've mentioned several times, it is the start of a brand new year, and some of you out there might have started on a journey to a brand new you. Whether it's weight loss, keeping fit, or adopting healthier eating habits, we have really good intentions when it comes to making a change for the better. But some changes are harder than others. Eating healthier in particular is a tough one, especially when your taste buds have become accustomed to tasty, delicious Malaysian delights. What if we told you that perhaps you are finding it difficult to make a dietary choice change because you're addicted to substances in your food?
Whoa.
I'm not an addict, we hear you yelling, but you might just change your mind after you hear what Dr. Chow, the president of the Malaysian Dental Association, has to say. Welcome to VBuzz, Doctor.
Thank you for having me here to speak on this very important subject.
Yes, Doctor. We definitely appreciate you taking time off your busy day to be with us today. Now, Sharita earlier on mentioned about the good Malaysian food and how hard it is to resist these food. Now, is it our inability to say no to these food an addiction of some sort?
I would say that it is quite similar to addiction, because addiction means that you are sort of enslaved to a certain thing that you constantly would like to have and continue to have. Yeah. You see, in Malaysia, we love our food. I love my food. I love all the different Malaysian food that we have, the great diversity, etc. But there could be a problem because we do not really like bland food. Every time we feel that the food is bland, we add a bit more sugar, we add a bit more salt, we fry a bit with more oil, and that sort of makes it tasty. So the problem might be that we have addicted ourselves to a high content of salt and sugar and plenty of fried stuff. And that may cause us to lose our finer abilities to taste the finer flavors of food.
Yeah.
For example, in France, you find that to the Malaysian, it will be very bland, but to them it's very tasty because they do not add so much salt and sugar to their food, and yet it's tasty because they are used to the finer flavors of food. And we may have lost a lot of that, and because of that, we may have added too much sugar and salt to our food.
But speaking about sugar, growing up, we all learn about, what kind of foods we need, the food pyramids and all that. But is sugar a necessary part of our diet?
I think we have to differentiate between two types of sugar. One is non-added sugar. That means the sugar that is already naturally found in your fruits, your vegetables, even in your meats. The other one is a so-called added sugar, the sugar that we add on to our food. So essentially, it seems that even if we do not add any sugar, it is sufficient. The intrinsic sugar, that natural sugar that is already found in our food, is already enough for our diet, actually.
Yeah, so it's entirely up to us to start appreciating this sugar, the sweetness in fruits, vegetable, and also different carbohydrates. Now, Doctor, there was some alarming news, actually statistics that I came across, which stated that Malaysia was the 8th highest consumer of sugar in the world. Now, having said that, Doctor, could you tell us what is actually the daily recommendation for intake of sugar, and how do Malaysians stand in that?
That is news to me, that we are the 8th highest. It doesn't sound good. But having said that, we can look to the World Health Organization, their recommended intake of sugar for adults and children. And I was at the international convention 2 years ago, and I sat for 3 hours listening to WHO experts. And at that time, they told us what we need, in simple terms, is for adults, we should not take more than 10 teaspoons of sugar a day. That was 2 years ago. 1 year ago, they have told us now, actually, you do not need more than 5 teaspoons of sugar. So I was quite shocked. Over a period of 1 year, they halved it. And recently, they say, actually, you should go below 5 teaspoons for your energy needs. And the trend seems to be, it could be they're actually telling us that actually you don't need any sugar at all. And that is the WHO recommendations.
And Doctor, do these figures refer to added sugar or the natural sugars found in fruits, vegetables?
Refers to added sugar.
Okay.
Sometimes we call it hidden sugar or free sugars. Everything else that's naturally found in food, those are called what is intrinsic sugar. So that is fine, but the WHO is referring to added sugar, which is mainly table sugar or even syrups and stuff like that, icing sugar and all
now,
that.
speaking about hidden sugars, what are the most common hidden sugars that people might be consuming without knowing it at all?
Well, one is the most common is soft drinks. We call it soda, soft drinks. I won't name the brands. I think we all have our favorites.
Yeah.
The other that is very popular in Malaysia is our 3-in-1. Coffee, tea. We have a whole load of them. When you go to the supermarket, you can have so many different brands of 3-in-1s.
Yeah.
And then, of course, we love to add sugar to our food whenever we think that it doesn't taste nice enough. We add a bit more sugar. Yeah. So, and all sorts of juices that we take off the shelf, they have all got added sugar. In fact, come to think of it, almost all manufactured foods you find in boxes that you walk in beautifully packaged boxes, almost all of them, you look carefully, there is added sugar in it. Sometimes they will call it different things like carbohydrates or syrup. They have about 50 different terms to call sugar, but it's all added sugar.
Yeah, sometimes
scary.
Yeah, sometimes I look at some products and it is stated that no added sugar, but you look at the carbohydrates per serving, it goes up to 35 grams, which is very scary, Doctor. Now, with all these hidden sugars and us Malaysians intentionally adding sugar to food and drinks, maybe it is about time you told us what are the effects of excess sugar to our bodies.
Well, one of the main things that's linked closely to sugar is obesity, as we are now famously known as the fattest people in Asia, and we have one of the fastest growing diabetic rates in the world. I remember I read the paper from from our government website in 2006. Our diabetic rate stood at 17%. No, it was actually 12%. Currently, it's 17%. By 2020, we're going to be 23%. That means almost 1 in 4 is going to be classified as diabetic, and about half of them actually do not even know. So you can see that sugar, when it's linked to obesity, and obesity is linked to diabetes. So very often we are told that there's no direct link of sugar to diabetes, but looks a bit direct to me, you know, sugar, obesity, and then diabetes. But one important thing I want to highlight is that research has found out that actually sugar tricks our brain into thinking that we are not yet full. That,
Ah.
that means you have sugar in your diet. Your brain sensation of fullness that it tells to the body is suppressed a bit.
It's
So that
satiety
we
is lower.
actually, yes, actually we end up eating more than we need because of the sugar that suppresses that satiety center in our brain.
Oh, very interesting, Doctor. Now, that is the one aspect of it, to our bodies itself, being obese and at higher risk of getting these communicable diseases such as diabetes. Let's talk about the effects of sugar towards our teeth and bones.
That is our primary expertise as a dentist. We all know that sugar in the mouth will cause dental caries. But sugar's effect on the body and also will result in severe gum disease. If you already have some gum disease, the impact of sugar on the body can actually make it worse. So not only will there be holes in the teeth, there will also be a deterioration in the supporting bone of the teeth. And that is why actually the main cause of missing teeth, the loss of teeth, is actually not so much dental caries, but actually due to teeth getting loose, and that is due to gum disease. So most of our teeth actually are lost because of gum disease. So you can see that sugar actually has a big impact on this disease of the mouth.
Right.
You know, this topic kind of reminds me of this very famous viral article that I came across about this family, that it was their New Year's resolution to cut out sugar from the entire family. And by the end of the year, the mother reported seeing these side effects that, her family's skin was better, they've had more energy throughout the year.
I've come across that article too.
So, all these benefits they were speaking of, is this something that we can expect if we do cut out sugar, or are there any other consequences of cutting out sugar entirely from our diets?
Yeah, that is really, interesting thing you brought up. And if it is true, it will be really amazing. Of course, the barrier is that can we get rid of sugar? And I think what you highlighted probably is true, because if we actually cut out sugar from our diet, and if we know that actually sugar is non-essential, added sugar I mean, added sugar is non-essential to our diet, these are some things that I believe will happen. First of all, I think we will lose weight. This is something most of us want to, but find very difficult. And if this something as simple as just cutting out sugar from your diet, you will lose weight, is wonderful. So I believe it can happen. You will lose weight. And the second thing I believe that will happen is food will become more tasty. You'll be able to begin to taste food in the finer flavors, because a lot of our food has been masked by too much sugar and too much salt. So when you remove sugar and too much salt from our food, your taste buds will become, will revive its ability to be able to taste the finer flavors of food. And generally will become, I believe, will become more healthy.
Yes.
And not only that, we probably will save our country a lot of money, because recently I read in the newspapers that we actually, in our public hospitals, we spend up to 4 billion ringgit a year treating the complications as a result of the 1.5 billion diabetic patients that we treat in our public hospitals. The health minister said that 4 billion we are spending. So we probably can save our country a lot of money too, if everyone
All
looks
very
at that.
positive
Yes.
outcomes there.
Very expensive. Also, another thing that I want to ask you, Doctor, recently we shared this news about some universities in America, completely banning the
sodas,
sales
yeah.
of sweet sugary drinks, beverages, but they allowed things zero, like some with no
Yeah,
sugar, with
sugar-free sodas,
artificial
yeah.
Yeah.
sugar. So
Yeah.
let's talk about artificial sugar. Is that good as a replacement for these added sugars, or are there some negative effects consuming that too?
Generally speaking, the research is not very clear about that yet. So we cannot actually say that they are not good, but it is, recent research shows that xylitol is actually poisonous to dogs.
Oh.
So if it's poisonous to dogs, we're not quite sure what it will do to humans.
Yeah.
The other stuff like aspartame, saccharin, and stevia. Stevia comes from a natural source.
Yeah.
So the research is not quite clear there yet, though in our taking these artificial sweeteners, we might also end up eating more because we think we are safe, you see.
Yeah.
So we have to watch that, and then we got to wait for the results of these artificial sweeteners, the research. But generally speaking, maybe we should avoid artificial stuff in a general way and have some
Yeah.
moderation in that. Yeah.
You know, as much as there are a lot of positive outcomes of cutting sugar out of our diets, added sugar that is, it's still very difficult for some people, especially myself. I have a
Yep,
sweet tooth.
yep.
I consume a lot of chocolate and candy and cakes and
Okay.
such. But should we be looking for healthy alternatives to sugar, or training our bodies to completely cut out added sugar?
I think one of the hardest things for any nation to do or any person to do actually is to kick sugar completely out of diet, because we have more or less enjoyed and been more or less addicted to sugar, and we all love sugar and for more than 100 years already. So it's not easy, but if we can be more educated to realize the negative and the negative health effects it will have on us, our children, our grandchildren. If we do not do something about it now, then eventually I think we will move more and more away from sugar. And I think human beings are very smart. Once they get rid of something, they'll try to replace it with some things, and hopefully we'll replace it with something that's safer and more natural, more healthy to us. So it's true, it's tough to kick sugar, but we must do something about it, because the negative results is too heavy for us to bear, continue to bear.
Now, speaking of doing something, the Malaysian Dental Association is actually trying to do something to curb this whole issue and trying to move the public away from consuming excessive amounts of sugar. You're having a CSR event in about 2 weeks' time, Doctor. Could you tell us a bit more about this event?
Yeah, it is in conjunction with our International Dental Convention. We have people coming from all over the country, all the world, over the world. Dentists, essentially, we're going to probably have 2,000 to 3,000 dentists meeting, talking about dentistry and all that. And sugar, as we all know, is causes one of the major causes of dental caries. So it impacts our treatment, our advice to patients tremendously. So this year we decide in our MDA CSR, we have a MDA think tank. So we have decided to come up with what is called a Operasi Sifar Gula event. And our main sponsors is the Ministry of Health, the Oral Health Division. And then the PWTC have also generously helped to sponsor, together with other people like Colgate, GSK, Wrigley's. And the public lecture is a public lecture. Everyone is invited. It's going to be in Putra World Trade Center on Sunday, the 15th of January. So it's on a Sunday. It's a family day. Everyone can come. You come at 11 a.m. It will be at the level of the registration counters, and I think it's in Dewan Tun Hossain on. Public lecture is going to be given by none other than Dato Sri Idris Jala, who is famous as an economic transformation guru. And he's also the current Pemandu chairman, CEO of Pemandu. And he is going to speak on the topic economic transformation and the true cost of sugar.
All right.
You see, we buy sugar at $3 a kilo from the market, but the true cost of sugar in terms of health terms, effects and all that, in the long run might be much, much more than that. So he's going to speak on that. And we have two special guests, Harif Iskandar, the funniest person in the world.
A previous studio guest as well.
He's going to present the lecture by, he's going to give an introduction. I don't know how he's going to do it, but I believe it's going to be funny and interesting.
Yeah, I'm sure the tagline is laughter is the best medicine.
I'm not sure. And then we have Chef Wan himself, one of our greatest chefs of Malaysia, internationally known, who is going to teach us how to cook healthy food. And he's going to present a special recipe for nasi lemak.
Yum, Doctor.
How to cook it healthily.
I
That
can't
sounds
wait for
great.
that. I know.
Everybody rallying together.
You should
to
send
really...
Astro with your cameras there.
Yeah, so maybe send us. We need to know some
you are most
advice.
welcome. You are most welcome because you can register at this number.
Yes.
SMS, your registration is 017-788-7644. Give your name and your IC number, and we will allocate a special place for you.
All right, so that was 017-788-7644 for registrations.
Yes.
Thank you so much,
Thank you so
Doctor,
much.
Can I
for
say
joining
just
us.
one more thing?
Yes.
In the afternoon, if you are thinking that you might be diabetic and you do not sure, the Diabetes Malaysia will be there to give you free blood sugar checks.
Oh,
you
fantastic.
can come and get a free checks. And then you are worried about whether your teeth are falling out due to gum disease. We have actually got specialists from the Clinic Pakar Pergigian Periodontic Melaka who will actually give you free gum checkups and see whether your teeth will last and give you advice.
All right,
Now
very
that's-
comprehensive.
That's a good way to start the new year. Thank you so much, Doctor,
Yeah, most welcome.
for joining us on
Thank you.
VBuzz, and we wish you a great year ahead.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
There we have it.
I know.
I think one of the best solutions, obviously, is to eat dark chocolate. 90% dark
love
chocolate.
dark chocolate. I love
no sugar at all. Now, if you want something to go along with your newfound healthy diet, we'll be speaking to some people who can actually help you keep your fitness goals as well. So stay tuned for that.